Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an all-new episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. How is everybody doing, by the way? I know it's been a little while since the last time I have done an episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and that was mainly because, well, not last week, but the week prior, it felt like it was really dry in terms of animation news and entertainment news in general. It just didn't really feel right to go and force out an episode when there wasn't really much to go and talk about. But when it comes to what happened last week, however, that is a different story, and I have managed to gather a whole bunch of fun-filled material to go and talk about, and I am really excited to get back over here. So much so, in fact, if you are watching this, then you may have noticed I am wearing my AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast t-shirt. So I'm already hyping myself up for this, and I hope that you are hyped up as well, considering that we are about to get into a lot of stuff that will give us a taste of what will be to come during the summer. Rather it be the kind of movies that we'll be getting, or even a very unexpected game that shall be coming out next month, but I will be saving that story for much later. But without further ado, however, why don't we go and actually get into this, and hopefully this time it will go much better than the last stream of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, because even to this day, I still don't know what happened, but hopefully the internet will behave a lot better than before, and we won't face any of those weird technical problems. I mean, the last time I did a stream when I played Mouse PI for Hunter, it all went very well, so maybe it'll go very well for this round as well. Alright, now with all that said, it is now time I shall go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, who is ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Who is ready now? Come on, let me see who is now prepared. Let's see now. Yes. Oh, okay. I see people are ready. People are set. That is wonderful. All right. I see people are ready. It's nice that we got some excitement going on. And now, and I do notice that we got some birthdays, one of which one fan's grandma is going to be or already turned 87 last Friday. So happy late birthday. And one whose birthday is going to be coming up this Wednesday. So happy early birthday. All right, now with that said, I believe now it is time that we shall go and get things started. And with our first story, we're going to go and watch a couple of trailers. A couple of trailers in which they will be regarding two highly anticipated movies that will be released this summer. And the first one I have for you today, well, it may not be animated, but this will most likely be one of the biggest movies that will be coming out this year, considering that it is from one of the most acclaimed directors today, Christopher Nolan. So, without further ado, why don't we go and begin this by checking out the trailer for the upcoming Christopher Nolan movie, The Odyssey. And that was The Odyssey, to which it shall be coming out in theaters on July 17th. And considering that it is a Christopher Nolan movie, I think it is safe to say that, yes, I am definitely, at the very least, keeping an eye on this movie, and I would even go as far and say that I definitely am anticipated for this picture, especially after I very much enjoyed a lot of the other works from Christopher Nolan, especially last time when a few years ago he put out Oppenheimer, and that feature was absolutely spectacular and absolutely admirable. I mean, considering it was from the time when Barbieheimer was like all the rage, it was pretty much a fun time to go to the movies where you would get not just one, but two absolutely great feature films. And of course, Oppenheimer was one of them. And this is not to mention some of his other pictures that are highly admirable, rather it be his earlier works like with Memento or The Dark Knight Rises, or even with Inception. So, yeah, of course, when you got a name like Christopher Nolan, in fact, he's actually one of the very rare filmmakers nowadays that when his name is attached to a project, especially as a director, that's when people are going to take notice and they will absolutely pay attention to it, especially like with Christopher Nolan and with what happened last time with Oppenheimer. Like, this is a very rare instance where a filmmaker is able to make one of his pictures into a major event. And when it comes to the Odyssey, I feel like with what happened after Oppenheimer, of course, there's going to be a lot of anticipation. And honestly, I could see why in this trailer, considering what I find to be very interesting is that even though this is going to be this major film adaptation of Homer's Odyssey, and it features an all-star cast, and you actually do see like some elements of fantasy related to Homer's Odyssey. Like, one noticeable thing was that at one point you do get to see the Cyclops and the unique design that it has on that. I just need to remember, where is it? Yeah, like right over here. So as you may notice with the Cyclops, he has a bit of a different design where, like, of course, he has his one eye where it is like kind of like rotated 90 degrees to what humans regularly have. And also his nose is like in a 45-degree angle. So, of course, they would go and play up with the designs. And not to mention some other fantasy elements. Like, of course, you do have like the giant knights that Odysseus has to go and fight over here. Like, you got these big guys that have no trouble going after Matt Damon's crew. And not to mention, like you just saw, like he just picks up one of the gladiators and just like throws him so hard that it breaks through a tree. And even like one quick instance where they would have to go, you know, they're on a boat, they're sailing, but they have to pass through like this big waterfall. So, of course, there are going to be those elements like in the story where there are elements of fantasy. But what's really fascinating is that in this trailer, what it indicates to us is that this is going to be very character driven, where there's going to be a lot of focus on the characters that are played by Matt Damon, Tom Holland, who is going to be playing the son, I believe. And of course, there's also a lot of focus upon Robert Pattinson. And I'm going to be very honest with you all. I think out of all the people that are presented in this trailer, I think the one that really grabbed my attention is actually Robert Pattinson. It's honestly kind of funny that, you know, there was a time, like probably a generation ago, where Robert Pattinson was just primarily known for being Edward from Twilight. But nowadays, I feel like he's kind of growing more and more into one of my favorite actors, because the performances that he's been putting out lately have been phenomenal. Rather it be voiceover work like what he did in The Boy and the Heron, that was honestly quite a shocker that he was amazing in there. And then there's also the Batman, where he actually played a pretty engaging Bruce Wayne in that. And then, of course, there is probably his most unhinged performance, which is The Lighthouse. Like, he managed to match up with the craziness of Willem Dafoe in there. So yeah, honestly, when Robert Pattinson is involved in a movie, honestly, I feel like it is something to go and like pay attention to, because yeah, he's becoming more and more like as one of like the best actors working out there. I know that's like a massive praise to go and say, but I really do feel that. Like, I think it's not going to be too long until one day we're going to hear about a performance from Robert Pattinson that is so great that he'll be considered a top contender during award season. I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel like it's going to be pretty soon. And yeah, and some people are even bringing up some other great examples, like Mickey 17 is another great one. I mean, oh my goodness, how could I forget about Mickey 17? Yeah, that one is also great right there. And I even see some people are mentioning as well, Kristen Stewart went into a similar direction, where she went from Bella from Twilight and actually has quite an impressive acting career of herself, where she actually has several examples of her abilities and they could be quite admirable. So yeah, even in this case here, I feel like it's kind of surprising, but I could be wrong, but I think honestly, one of the standouts in here is going to be Robert Pattinson. If anything, like, and I could be wrong, but it does feel like in here he might be the antagonist in this. But I think honestly, if he brings out a solid performance in this, and knowing Christopher Nolan, he can really bring out the best in some actors. What I just talked about, like what could be a standout performance, maybe this could be it. Maybe this could be the one that will really get a lot of attention from people, especially during award season. Because I think back at Oppenheimer, and one of the best things from that movie was Robert Downey Jr.'s performance. See, I personally believe that what RDJ did in Oppenheimer is one of his best acting roles yet. And honestly, if he managed to do so great in that, then maybe what I can imagine is that what Robert Pattinson will be in the Odyssey, there is a likelihood it'll be like what RDJ was in Oppenheimer. Like, this could be a major standout performance. And I mean, I was already captivated by his acting with what he has done here when, like when he would be interacting with Tom Holland, like just even in, I think even in this shot over here is actually a pretty nice example. Let's just go and watch that a little bit again, like just to show you.
You didn't even know, like some sniveling bastard.
Like, honestly, it's not like that's pretty solid so far. So that's part of why I am excited. And I mean, this is not even to mention about many of the other components that we have seen in this trailer. Like, of course, the cinematography is phenomenal. And I mean, honestly, the crew did a great job to make this movie look absolutely grand. Like, they are trying to make this look like an absolute epic adventure. And I mean, like even this shot over here, like probably, hold on a sec. Let's just back this up a little bit. Where is it? Where are you, you little rapscallion? Okay, there we go. Yeah, like we got, like even with this shot, it's actually the Trojan horse scene, and we start to see the Trojans like getting out of there, or we see the soldiers like coming out of there just to do this massive raid. Like, honestly, this, what it feels like? This right here kind of feels like they're going back to old school Hollywood. This, like, maybe I could be wrong, but this doesn't feel like this was CG. Like, now they're going back to like doing things that are practical and building things that really are big. So in a way, this is kind of like we're going back to like the golden age of Hollywood, where they bring us back to like these old tales and telling us these classic stories in the veins of like Cecil B. DeMille and stuff like that. So that's honestly part of the excitement of this. And like, not to mention like some of the other shots, like, hold on, like right over here. Hold on, back this up. Like, you even got this elaborate shot with all the soldiers running on the beach. Like, it's incredible. Like, there are plenty of scenes here where it's just highly admirable, and even like this broken ship by the beach. So I'm sure the cinematography is also going to be an element that will be highly admirable. So I will say overall, I am definitely excited to see what is in store with the Odyssey. Just by the trailer alone, it is showing us that this is what Gladiator 2 should have been when that came out just a few years ago. So far, visually, it looks absolutely stunning. And considering that even in this trailer, like, it does heavily advertise, if I may go to the back, like, right over here, it even hypes up the fact that it'll be in theaters with special engagements in 70 millimeter, 35 millimeter, and IMAX. And especially, like, it even says shot entirely with IMAX film cameras. I think this is going to be one of those where, like, you got to go to the biggest screen. You got to go, like, like, this will be the kind of film where it's worth paying extra to make the most out of what you're going to see. So the visuals, I can imagine, is going to be highly top notch. The actors there, they look like they're really giving their all, not just Robert Pattinson that I've just been giving praise to so many times here, but also, like, even with the scenes with Matt Damon, Tom Holland, and Anne Hathaway, those are going to be exciting to see. And I mean, these aren't even all the actors that we know are going to be in there. Like, I don't think we have yet to fully see Elliot Page in this, or even Zendaya, like, how she's going to be a part of this story. So there's a lot that is going to be worth hyping up for. And even, like, in terms of the tone, it looks like it's going to be very engaging in ways that we wouldn't expect. I mean, you'd think you're going to come into this, like, Greek fantasy adventure, you think you're going to come in, like, to this updated Ray Harryhausen movie, but no, it looks like it's going to be a lot more character driven. So overall, yeah, this is definitely one of my most hyped movies of the summer, and I can't wait to see what's in store when the Odyssey will be coming out on July 17th. And with that said, now it is time I'd like to go into the chat wall, and I want to go and ask you all, what do you all think about the Odyssey trailer? Are you guys excited to go and check it out? Are there any criticisms that you would like to go and share? Let me know what you all think about this experience that we got over here. And you know what? I know it's been a little while, but I think we are well due for a little poll. And let's see if I could go and ask you all in regards to the Odyssey. What can I ask? Oh, actually, you know what? Will you be watching the Odyssey? All right, so now we're going to go and write down yes, and then we're going to go and write down no, and we'll see what the chat has to say now. All right. Oh, boy. Wow. Okay, I didn't expect it would already be flooded like this. Anyways, I am a fan of a lot of Christopher Nolan's works, especially after Oppenheimer. And so far, this visually, it looks very impressive. The cast looks solid all around, and it does look like it stays true to the story, so this definitely has potential. Also, it looks like Tom Holland is going to have a big year, not just with this, but also with Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is another highly anticipated movie coming out this year. Oh yeah, this really is going to be the summer of Tom Holland, or it's going to be the July of Tom Holland, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Brand New Day is also coming out in July also. So yeah, I can imagine for him, like, having these two major movies, I think people are definitely going to have so much of their Tom Holland fill in this, especially with how they presented in the trailer of the Odyssey. Tom is also going to be a main character in that too. All right, so let's see what we got here. Wow, Illumination's third Mario movie is taking some weird turns. But all jokes aside, this looks absolutely phenomenal. The visual effects are stunning, the production design is breathtaking, and Robert Pattinson is really going all out. I can honestly see him being a front runner and best supporting actor next to James Oritz. Calling it now, he was amazing in that movie. This is going to be a must watch, especially in IMAX. I mean, what am I going to watch instead? Moana? Yeah, that is a fair point. If anything, like, I know I gotta go and watch the Moana remake because I gotta go and do a review of it. But if anything, like, at least the Odyssey won't be far off, where it'll be a nice palate cleanser. So at least I could go and look forward to that. And maybe it could actually help make the Odyssey be better. Because honestly, it makes me look back at like when Trolls Band Together and Wish came out. Like, honestly, one part of what made Wish very enjoyable is that it made it feel like a nice palate cleanser after the corporate cringe that was Trolls Band Together. So maybe it'll end up with the same effect with the Moana remake and the Odyssey. All right, let's see what we got here now. What other comments to go and read? Anyone else just want to... Okay, there we go. This will be the first film to be shot entirely with IMAX film cameras. I'm definitely seeing it in the biggest screen possible. Also, does anyone find it funny that Matt Damon keeps on playing a character who got lost and trying to find his way back? And this one is the earliest stories depicting that. Exactly. I mean, like, I know this as an actor. Once you got a niche thing going on, you might as well keep it going if you want to maintain a solid career. And I mean, it's been working very well for Matt Damon with that. And I mean, you might as well go with one of the oldest stories that are related to that kind of character trope. And by the way, we do have an update in terms of the poll. The results are in. And interestingly enough, the majority of you have said that yes, you are going to go and watch the Odyssey, but interestingly enough, it's 79% of you who have voted. Meanwhile, 21% of you who have voted said no. So at least there is that going. Okay. But anyhow, let's see what other comments are there to go and read. I will certainly keep my non-Cyclops eye on this. I love Christopher Nolan, and for his first historical sword and sandal epic, it feels like he has the genre in his blood. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see it in theaters, but I'll hopefully get to it sometime. Though it still won't be as good as the actual best Odyssey adaptation, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Oh boy, I don't know. We'll see. We will see when the movie does come out. Let's see. Are there any other comments to go and read? Surprisingly, there's not as much as I would expect. But you know what? I mean, actually, I'll read one more. Why not? Let's see. Or actually, oh, there is this one here. Or no, I'll go with this one, actually. I could smell the Oscar nomination in this movie. Christopher Nolan is back after 3 years with Oppenheimer. The visuals and effects are breathtaking. The performances are outstanding. It has a potential story. That was a joke, by the way, but I still love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Okay, no, I completely get it, dude. Don't worry about it. All right, so with all that said, well, I wouldn't say there is complete hype for the movie, but there definitely is some hype for the Odyssey. And once again, if you guys are interested in checking it out, then keep in mind that the movie will be released in theaters on July 17th. And now we're going to go on to our first break. And when we come back, we got another trailer we're going to go and watch. But this time, well, even though some people will go and say that the Odyssey is definitely cinema, now we're going to have a bit more of a cartoony take of what is considered classic cinema. So stay tuned for that, as we are going to go and relax, and then we'll meet up with some monsters. All right, welcome back. Now, when it comes to our next trailer we're about to watch, this is going to be a movie that will be released not long before the Odyssey. In fact, this is actually going to be coming out on Canada Day, specifically July 1st. And it's funny that I go and immediately just say that right now, but considering that this is a movie that is going to be released around like the end of June, the beginning of July, around that area, usually that means a brand new Illumination movie. And even though we already got one with the Super Mario Galaxy movie just a couple of months, or actually about a month ago. It hasn't been that long since the release, but now we are getting another one, but this time around, it's going to be the return of the Minions, because we could not wait too long before we get another feature where the Minions are back on the big screen. But this time around, they promise for something that's going to be a lot more chaotic than the previous features. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the final trailer for the upcoming Illumination movie, Minions and Monsters.
In Hollywood, the new stars at the silver screen.
And that was Minions and Monsters, to which the movie is going to be coming out in theaters on July 1st. Now, I know I've already expressed my opinion before on the Minion movies in general, and I will say that despite me enjoying the main Despicable Me movies, I think honestly they're a lot of fun and they could still be strong. In fact, I was surprised that the fourth movie was actually pretty solid in its own right. Like, it wasn't great, but for a fourth movie, it's not that bad, actually. But when it comes to the Minions features, I don't really enjoy them as much. Like, I find the first Minions movie is the weakest of the entire Despicable Me franchise so far. And honestly, like, I know it was like a big thing a few years back, but I wasn't really into Minions: The Rise of Gru. Like, honestly, it didn't work. You know, it didn't work for me as much as it has for some other people. So that's why I didn't have high expectations when it comes to Minions and Monsters. I didn't really think all that much about it, even with the previous trailers that they put out. Like, I wasn't really as impressed. And the comedy, I would say it's like at best a mixed bag, but generally it's more like, I don't know. But then came this trailer, what we just saw. With this trailer, I don't know what it is, but holy crap, was that an improvement? Like, seriously, this is quite a glow up for Minions and Monsters. And I might as well go and start off by saying that so far, like, one thing that really was better compared to the other trailers that was presented, the comedy is a lot stronger. Like, I don't know if it's going to be funny throughout in this style, but I honestly enjoyed a lot more of the humor in this and a lot of the jokes that they have presented than they have in the previous trailers. And that's mainly because in here, it feels like now Minions and Monsters is just embracing its own absurdity and chaotic nature, where even just the execution and the timing on each of these gags, they actually managed to work out very well. Like, a great example is the scene with the shark where, hold on a sec. All right, calm down there. Like, when you got when they want to go and save like a baby otter and then the shark would just come in and eat up their boat. Like, this part right here, I feel like it worked out very well. Like, honestly, that was great. Like, it happened so quickly, but like every part of that, I feel like it honestly worked. And another another highlight that honestly got a surprising laugh out of me is actually when we saw a literal minion clown and we just see him becoming like just fully embracing his chaotic nature. Like, he knows he's the most insane one, like right over here. And then, like, we even got a second shot where, like, that honestly got me like another good laugh, where like now he just like strips down to his thong and then just whips out the chainsaw. like, it's honestly that kind of chaotic nonsense that I'm honestly really enjoying from what they're showing here. And I mean, considering that this is a movie where, like, the title says it all. It has minions and it has monsters, and they decided to go all out and just be crazy with it. Honestly, I feel like that's probably the best direction that you can go. Now, I won't say that even in this trailer that all the gags are like absolutely hilarious, but I was surprised that there were some that actually land very well, and they don't just make me chuckle, but they gave out a good laugh from me. Like, I actually really enjoyed that. And another thing that I also really liked was actually right at the beginning when they actually paid homage to the golden era of Hollywood, or like, considering this movie is supposed to be set in like the late 1920s or the early 1930s and stuff like that, during that classic age of Hollywood, we see them paying homage to that old classic style of filmmaking. In fact, even right at the beginning, it's actually really cool where we got a classic cartoon style of the Illumination logo. Like, that was honestly really nice. And so far, I feel like that's going to be up there among one of the absolute favorites in terms of Illumination's logos. And even at the beginning, when we see like the minions at their prime and they were considered like old Hollywood stars, like those scenes were definitely cool. And even the shot over here when they were putting their print in the cement for the Chinese theater, like that was also a lot of fun. And not to mention, like, I will admit, like, even though the gag wasn't the best in here, I will say it was actually funny to see like this shot of like this detective romance thing going on between the damsel and the detective minion. Like, that was honestly a lot. That was honestly funny to see, like, him trying to be romantic with the girl. But like, I can already tell with this shot here, like the girl, like, actually, no, I'll go back a little bit just to show a little bit of this. Like, you could see in her face, she's just there like, do I have to honestly do this? Like, can we just cut here? Oh, that was honestly a lot of fun. And not to mention, considering that this is supposed to be set in like the classic age of Hollywood, of course, we also managed to get some references as well. And one shot you may have seen a lot of people passing around is actually this one right over here, where you actually do get a few references to classic Hollywood actors. Like, to the right, you actually got Charlie Chaplin with his working satire film, like one of his more famous ones there. And then you also got to the left, like to the far left, you actually got Buster Keaton on the side. So maybe this could actually be another element that could actually be fun with watching Minions and Monsters, is that maybe we could actually get a whole bunch of different references to classic cinema, almost like the Super Mario Galaxy movie, but with the golden age of Hollywood. I mean, okay, that might be like quite a lot, because like with the Super Mario Galaxy movie, it's nothing but references, more so than actual story. But still though, like just adding in those like little references bit by bit, that's going to be a lot of fun to go and see. And even someone also mentioned that like there's also a reference to Harold Lloyd as well in this. And oh my God, actually just realizing it, the more I look at it, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I think we also got a reference. I mean, I could be wrong, but we also got like the two policemen here. I just realized this could be maybe it's just me, but this could be a reference to Laurel and Hardy. I mean, like, you got the one skinny guy and then you got another large dude with a mustache. That's got to be Laurel and Hardy. Again, I could be wrong, but knowing this movie, it could be like, that could be it. I mean, like, just seeing like all the different references, it's just, like, I feel like that's going to be something to go and look forward to with Minions and Monsters. So I will say, honestly, I'm rather surprised by this trailer, And I don't know why it took them this long until they brought out like this sort of material for the marketing on this. But honestly, this has changed up a little bit of my opinion on Minions and Monsters. And I won't say that this is among my most anticipated movies of this year, let alone anticipated animated films of the year. But I will say, honestly, I'm now becoming a little more optimistically curious about this one. And I mean, there is a likelihood that maybe, at least for me, this could turn out to be the best Minions movie, especially with the homage to the golden age of Hollywood, and especially with the kind of chaotic comedy that they bring out. And this is not even to mention the animation that they have displayed. Of course, coming from Illumination, the visuals are their strongest asset, and with what we're seeing here with Minions and Monsters is honestly no different, especially when we're going to get into the shots with the monsters. And I mean, we already got a taste of it with Irene, with this giant blob with like millions of eyes. Like, I'm sure it's going to be spectacular. But overall, though, it look like, at the very least, I'm not expecting this is going to be one of the best animated features of the year alongside Hoppers. But it does look like this is going to be something that will be a lot of fun. And I've already expressed this on social media, but I might as well also say this right now. But this is, and by the way, this is actually something that I've talked to with a friend of mine. And we came to the conclusion, or more, I think like he suggested it first, but there's actually a very strong likelihood that Minions and Monsters could turn out to be a bigger success than the Super Mario Galaxy movie, both critically and financially. Considering with the critical reception of it, I don't think it's going to be that high of a bar to go and surpass, because if you look into what critics said on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritics, oh boy, like those numbers are even lower than the general standard of Illumination. But even financially, like, yes, the Mario Galaxy movie did extremely well, but it is surprising that it has yet to surpass $1 billion. And there is a possible likelihood that Minions and Monsters could actually be able to go and surpass that much faster than the Mario Galaxy movie, and even surpassing what could eventually become the total. And that is going to be something I don't think the internet is going to be ready for, because I know the Mario Galaxy movie definitely has its fans. So seeing how the reaction is going to be when Minions and Monsters will actually do better than the Mario Galaxy movie, I don't think some people might be ready for. But yeah, I will say overall, like I said, I am pleasantly surprised that this trailer actually worked for me much better than I expected. Again, I don't think this will turn out to be amazing, but I can actually see how I may have a good time with this, especially when it just fully embraces its, fully embraces its chaotic side and be a tribute to classic cinema. So if you guys are interested in checking out Minions and Monsters, then keep in mind that the movie shall be released in theaters on July 1st. And with that said, now I would like to pass this on to the chat wall, and I want to go and ask you all, what do you all think about the Minions and Monsters final trailer? Did you guys like it? Did you think this is better than the previous trailers that we got? Or are you guys still a little bit cynical and hesitant in regards to how Minions and Monsters is going to turn out? In fact, I'm going to go and take it a little step further, and I want to go and ask you all in a poll. So let me go and create that. Did you enjoy the final trailer of Minions and Monsters? Wait, there we go. So now I'll write down yes, and then I'll write down no, and see what the chat has to say. Whoops, hold on a sec. There we go. Now let's see what the chat has to say. All right. Hey, for what it's worth, I believe the movie is going to be a lot of fun. I never really doubted it, except for a few weak jokes here and there. I'm confident it will be another blockbuster for Illumination. Given the success of the Despicable Me franchise, it's impressive how they continue to produce new content after 6 films. While I don't think this will reach the same level as some of the other movies, it's still going to be great, especially following the mediocre success of Mario. Ooh, dang, hot take right there. Okay, now, let's see what we got here. I know it's going to be worse than the Mario Galaxy movie, but Minions and Monsters will be better received critically. Not necessarily commercially, though. It might be the lowest grossing of the Minions movies. I mean, you could be right, but then again, never underestimate the power of the Minions, because some people thought of the same in regards to The Rise of Gru, but then again, that still turned out extremely well. And that was during, like, more towards the end of the pandemic, where, like, times were a lot better, but, you know, we weren't fully out of it at that time. So I feel like, honestly, like, I'm just going to say I wouldn't be surprised if Minions and Monsters would go on to gross over $1 billion at the box office. Again, I could be wrong, but I got a feeling especially with what they have presented in that trailer, like, and the reception that it's been getting so far, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, it'll still turn out to be another big hit. Anyways, let's see here. Shouldn't the Minions be dying of boredom in an ice cave at this point in the timeline? Oh my god, I'm actually questioning the timeline of the Despicable Me movies. Shoot me now. Anywho, this looks like it'll be on par with any other bog standard Illumination movie. Maybe because all Illumination movies are bog standard. Either way, I'm skipping this one, but we all know it's going to make way more money than it deserves to make. All right then, maybe it didn't impress everybody. Honestly, this was a marked improvement from the last trailer. Honestly, Illumination, more of this. Oh, honestly, Illumination, more of this. There's some very funny jokes, whether it be with Minion Bogart scene or any scene with the chaotic Irene or that insane chainsaw clown minion. I also enjoy the classic Illumination, the classic allusions to old Hollywood, whether it be the actors or classic movies, much better than the previous ones. But will we see the gentle minions again? That is the true question. That I know I've seen some people asking if the gentle minions trend is suddenly going to make a comeback, but I don't know. We will see. We'll see with how the younger generation on TikTok, they'll react to minions. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Illumination will try to make this a thing again, but I don't know. I think it all depends on how, you know, like how TikTok users are going to react to it. And by the way, we got the results of the poll here in which, wow, actually the majority of you, it's almost similar to the result to what we have gotten with the Odyssey poll. And it says that 77% of you actually said yes, you did enjoy the final trailer of Minions and Monsters, where only 23% of you who have voted have said no. So honestly, quite interesting results there. All right, let's see what we got. This looks like it's going to be another good dose of chaos. The humor in this is full of hard hitters, especially with that one minion killing the queen. I like that one of the main minions is named Dick, and the animation is really imaginative. It honestly feels like a love letter to classic cinema. I'm going to give this a watch, but I need to rent a tux for it. Keeping the gentle minions alive. Gotta show them I'm gonna show them Chicken Jockey how it's done. Ah, well, there you go, right there. Alrighty, we're starting to see the gentle minions making a slow comeback. At least that's the confirmation from JF over here. But you know, honestly, if they are going to do like a big throwback to classic cinema and stuff like that, I know this is going to be quite a stretch, but there's a part of me that is wondering if the Minions would actually go and do this, because we've seen like, we've seen like little cameos from Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton and a few others as well. Would they also have a cameo of Walt Disney? because this is honestly during the time when Walt Disney was like, you know, he got his first big hit. Like, this was during the time when one of the biggest cartoons was Mickey Mouse. And I'm not saying that Mickey Mouse would suddenly make an appearance in a Minions movie, but I am wondering if there was some, like, if you would see amongst the crowd of celebrities, if Walt Disney would be one of them. I am honestly curious if they could do so, or maybe they couldn't because of like copyright reasons with the Walt Disney Company or something like that. But honestly, I am wondering if they would go that extra mile. I don't know. Maybe it's just my Disney nerd side talking. And I know it's such a weird request to go and ask, are we going to see Walt Disney in the Minions movie? Okay. Anyways, let's see, what other comments do we have here? Let's just go and read some others. I will say this trailer is very hilarious and got me hooked on this film. The animation is good as usual, the tributes to old Hollywood are cute, and the humor is honestly flat out funny. I love the part where the king's head is decapitated. Like, dang, is Illumination getting dark with their humor? But regardless, I'm giving this a chance. Not expecting it to be a masterpiece, but rather a fun and silly film just to entertain myself. Exactly. Like, this is more just for the amusement of it. You want, like, if you're going in to see a Minions movie, you know what to expect. Again, you're not expecting cinema in the levels of the Odyssey. You want to see goofy Minions just being goofy and chaotic. And at the very least, it definitely will be delivering on that. Let's see. I do notice on Twitch, like, there's some first timers coming in. So hello for you first timers there. Anyways, let's see what other comments are there to read. What other? I think I'll go and read one more actually. Is there any other ones? What the fridge is going on here? I'm skibbidying the Peter Griffin comfort tire, and I really hope we could go to HMV in the donk alongside Kevin Minion Bacon. Okay, I think this is more of a joke comment. Anyways, are there any others that I haven't read yet? Oh, okay. Oh, I don't think I've read this one, actually. The trailer was a major improvement over the first one, and this could be fun. Having it take place during the golden age of filmmaking is interesting. The humor is pretty good, and I laughed at the decapitation scene, so overall, this could be fun. And I think this could be a massive hit no matter what. Although in terms of being the biggest animated film of the year, we have to see how Toy Story 5 goes. Honestly, I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm worried at all, because the thing is, it's becoming a bit more of a tradition nowadays where Pixar and Illumination would release their animated features at the same time. And there are some years where Illumination does better. There are years when Toy Story does, where Pixar does better. But generally, like, there have been times, like, even though Pixar nowadays, there have been a few bombs, but, you know, usually they do fine. Like, they can coexist with each other. So there's no real competition that's actually going on between the two. So, I mean, if audiences want to go see Toy Story, they'll then want to go see Minions, at least with the general audience. All right, but with all that said, like, maybe not everybody is on board, but there definitely is some enthusiasm for Minions and Monsters, which honestly is quite a surprise, but again, it's a pleasant surprise. So if you are curious to go and check out Minions and Monsters, then keep in mind that the movie shall be coming out in theaters on July 1st. And with that said, we're going to go on to our next break. And when we do come back, we will go and discuss about an unfortunate passing, but it's going to be weird to talk about this individual because this is going to be an extremely rare case where we will look back and honor the legacy of a billionaire. And which billionaire is it that we are honoring? Well, we will tune in after this break. Welcome back. Now, when it comes to our next story, this is an unfortunate loss that has happened because this is actually a person that actually made quite a significant impact onto modern media. And yes, as I said before, this is actually in regards to someone who would be categorized as a billionaire. And I know it's weird to go and have a moment where we have to say nice things about a billionaire, considering how nowadays they really have become the enemy of our modern history, ranging from Donald Trump to Elon Musk to Mark Zuckerberg and several others out there. But when it comes to this guy, I mean, like, I'm not going to say that this dude is a saint. I'm not going to go and say that he is one of the good ones, but he definitely was different than the modern billionaires out there. And this is a man that I could say right now, he has a lot of passion in terms of the stuff that he invests in. Like, he's not just like, this is someone who isn't just doing it for the money, but he's doing it to help fuel what he loved. And with that said, let's go and talk about Ted Turner. Yes, a few days ago, Ted Turner has unfortunately passed away at the age of 87. For those of you who don't know, Ted Turner is known as the media mogul and philanthropist that actually changed television to become what it is today. Or at the very least, he completely changed television to become what it was prior to streaming. Because through Turner Enterprises, Ted Turner, like, his main thing was the fact that, as I said before, he really changed television. He was the man who reshaped it to become what it is now. In fact, I believe in this article on Variety, it actually stated that this is the man in which he actually, right over here, that he pioneered national basic cable. And from there, one of the big things that he has done is that he actually created the 24-hour cable stations, in which it would be a channel that would present 24 hours of just a specific niche, of just specifically one thing, and then go from there. And he created numerous of that. Some examples that I could put out is that one of the most notable that you'll see newspapers and news articles that they would go and say is that he is the man who created the first 24-hour news station where it's literally nothing but news with CNN. He also did the same thing with sports, I believe. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that, with TSN, where it's just all sports all the time. And then he also did that with classic movies as well, in which he also did so with Turner Classic Movies. And I mean, the list can go on. Like he also had plenty of other channels like TNT, TBS, just to go and name a few. Was it TNT? Was it TNT, his sports station? I mean, either way, like, I know he did one for sports. But in terms of animation, however, he actually is a prominent figure there as well, for two significant reasons. One is because of his love for the environment. Yes, he is actually a very passionate environmentalist, so much so that he actually created an animated series that is dedicated to educating kids about environmentalism and what you can do to go and help out the environment in an action-packed way with Captain Planet and the Planeteers. But the biggest of them all is actually regarding one channel. One channel that he did the same thing with many of the others, like Turner Classic Movies or CNN, TNT, TBS, and several others. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe TSN is actually something different. And like, come to think of it, maybe I did do a little bit of a mistake there. I do apologize. But anyways, with that said, he actually did that same kind of 24-hour channel that is completely dedicated to cartoons, considering that he did own the entire library of MGM, or at least the film library of MGM, and even some, I do believe even some of Warner Brothers as well, where he would go and take all the cartoons from that, rather it be all the cartoons from MGM, from the from the Tex Avery classics, to all the Tom and Jerry collections out there, to the classic Looney Tunes, to all the Hanna-Barbera shows, and he would go and put it all in one channel, where in 1992 he opened the Cartoon Network. So yes, folks, it is thanks to Ted Turner that we got Cartoon Network in the first place. And that is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the accomplishments that he has done. And this is just in regards to television. And I mean, the list can go on in terms of all of his achievements and his history, and again, his impact onto television and onto entertainment. I mean, even this article from Variety, like, it's a big one. You'll see that it goes on and on with all the things that he has that he has done throughout his entire life and throughout his admirable career. So with that said, again, I know that it is a bit odd to say that with Ted Turner, like, we mourn his loss and we honor his legacy and stuff, considering that, again, he was a billionaire. But the thing with Ted Turner, however, is that, yes, he was indeed quite different. And from the different stories that people would go and explain about Ted Turner and like their time with him and all that kind of stuff, they do acknowledge that he wasn't only different, but the reason why he was so successful was because he was such a big personality. Even this article actually starts out by calling Ted Turner as charismatic and larger than life, who conquered the world of media. Like that, like, honestly, for someone like Ted Turner, for like what he has done, you couldn't really do so if you're like this heavily introverted and shy person. Like, this dude is like boisterously extroverted to the point that he really supplies the majority of the energy in any room that he would be in. And that is because he really cares deeply about the stuff that he would go and invest, whether it be to go and like present the news, or to present cartoons, or to go and protect the environment and stuff like that. And if we could go and discuss a little bit, like with Captain Planet, for example, I know that with Captain Planet, some people could say that it's like one of those cheesy shows. Like, nowadays, yeah, it's agreeable that it can be quite cheesy and even a bit heavy-handed with its environmental message, but you could tell that it is a show that it is coming from the heart, that Ted Turner wants to go and find a way in order to connect with kids and, find a way to go and tell them that, hey, the environment is cool and our planet is cool, and we need to go and we need to go and protect it. And there are ways that, like, maybe it wouldn't be as action-packed as something like Captain Planet. Like, you don't need to have like any superpowered rings to go and say earth, water, wind, fire, heart, and all that kind of stuff. Like, you don't need that. Like, even the smaller actions can help go and protect the environment. And even now, and the funny thing is, speaking of Captain Planet and speaking of Ted Turner, I think there is actually a prominent example, and some could say it's a bit satirical of who Ted Turner is, but maybe some of you might be familiar with how Ted Turner can be crazy for the environment, and using Captain Planet as an example. And maybe some of you are probably familiar with the classic Robot Chicken sketch, which, considering it's just 90 minutes, why don't we go and actually have a moment to actually watch that, to watch, Robot Chicken's way of presenting Ted Turner and his crazy obsession with the environment and his character, Captain Planet.
Pan Global Oil keeps dumping sludge into the Atlantic Ocean.
That burns my ass. Protect the environment, or I'll kill you, Captain Planet!
If that doesn't encourage you to go and recycle, I don't know what can. Again, that's definitely more of a satirical take on Ted Turner and stuff like that. But still, though, I mean, it is a nice example to see, like, as they say, his larger than life personality and his love for the environment. Because, I mean, like, it's not like he wasn't wrong. And I mean, even when you look back at Captain Planet, as corny as that can be, like, they're not wrong with the message that they would go and say. And I mean, Captain Planet is right when he says that the power is yours. And then there is the factor of Cartoon Network, the fact that he would go and create Cartoon Network, because you got to keep in mind that there was actually a time when Cartoon Network had absolutely zero original shows to go and release, even long before the days of Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls and Ed, Ed and Eddie and Johnny Bravo and Courage the Cowardly Dog and all that kind of stuff. There was a time when Cartoon Network was quite literally what MeTV Toons is today. It only showed old classic cartoons, whether it be from Hanna-Barbera or Looney Tunes or the MGM cartoons or any of that kind of stuff. It was just there so that old cartoons could actually have a home. And eventually there was a bit of a reboot of that original Cartoon Network formula when Boomerang came out. So they would keep that legacy going. But at the time, the thing with Ted Turner is that, yes, just like with the environment, he was also somebody who was very passionate about cartoons as well. And when you got a billionaire that has all these films and has an eclectic film library, like, he wanted to go and try to showcase it at some point. And I mean, as much as he cares about these cartoons, he wants to make sure that their legacy is still alive, that they could still be presented, that people can still have a way to go and actually check out stuff like the Flintstones or the Jetsons or Yogi Bear or those old Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry cartoons. He was a bit ahead of its time when he knew that nostalgia is very marketable. Like, it's very profitable to have people look back upon stuff from their childhood and that they could happily go and re-experience that again, which was how the Cartoon Network was ultimately developed. And from there, Cartoon Network went on to have its own life and would go on to produce its own shows and became one of the biggest influences in the industry. I think it is safe to say that Cartoon Network really did shape up animation to go and have it become what it is today. And a big part of it is thanks to Ted Turner with his passion for cartoons and to go and develop something like Cartoon Network, where we would actually end up with a station that is just all dedicated to cartoons. So yeah, overall, I know I keep repeating this, but it is rather strange to mourn the loss of somebody who is among the not just 1%, but the 0.1%, considering the amount of wealth that he has done. And I'm not saying that he is a saint either. I'm sure there's been a lot of stuff that, a lot of shady practices that he has done over the years. But with Ted Turner, however, you could definitely tell that he was a very passionate man, and that a lot of what he has invested in not only reshaped television to become bigger and better, but also to go and keep these mediums alive, whether it be with news or with sports or with cartoons or any of that. He was very passionate. He was very dedicated in order to go and turn television into something that is much bigger, to really to celebrate just different assets that you can get from television and from media, and give them their own platform. And not to mention, like, I know I didn't get into this, but also with Turner Classic Movies is another prominent example where, with the big collection of films that he has under his belt, like, they also needed a space to go and be showcased, which is how Turner Classic Movies came to be. And it became one of the most important TV channels of cinema to help preserve film history. So in a way, the stuff that Ted Turner would go and create, they end up getting a whole life of their own, where things end up for the better with stuff like Cartoon Network and Turner Classic Movies. And then there are things where ultimately, well, nowadays you could say they turn for the worse, like with how CNN is becoming nowadays. But yeah, overall though, it is an unfortunate loss that Ted Turner is no longer with us, because he did help shape media to become what it is today. And I mean, if you're a millennial, or if you're someone who's younger than a millennial, then you certainly were influenced by how Ted Turner shaped how he shaped television. Because, like, honestly, we wouldn't be consuming cartoons like we have done back in the 90s and the 2000s if it weren't for Ted Turner. So may he rest in peace, and may his legacy forever move on, or forever live on. Sorry. All right. So with that said, now it is time I go into the chat wall, and I want to go and ask you all, how do you feel about Ted Turner? Are there any interesting facts that you would also like to add about Ted Turner, or what is it that you're going to remember the most about Ted Turner? Let me know what you guys think. All right, so Ted Turner was also known for bringing Warner Brothers movies prior to 1950, like Casablanca, and any Looney Tunes shorts that they once lost the rights to back to its rightful owner when Turner merged its company with Time Warner in 1996. This was why some Looney Tunes cartoons were released by MGM UA Home Video during the 80s and 90s. My sincere condolences to Ted's family and friends. Exactly. And okay, yeah, this is another weird thing, because it's like, well, this is when you would get, this is another thing where, like, oddly enough, a merger kind of worked in a way, because Ted Turner already owned MGM, and then when he moved up and also got Warner Brothers, then he was able to go and combine the two, where now the funny thing is, there was a weird period where the rights to the Looney Tunes cartoons was kind of a mess, where prior to 1948, they went one side, and then the ones after 1948 went to another, where they stayed in Warner Brothers. At least with Ted Turner, he was able to go and fix that problem, where now the entire Looney Tunes collection is under one roof. So there was that, definitely. This is definitely an unfortunate loss, and probably the only time when all mourn the loss of a billionaire. Ted Turner really did leave an impact on not just animation, but television in general. Rather it be with the creation, CNN, TNT, TBS, and several others. Heck, if it weren't for that man, we wouldn't have Cartoon Network and wouldn't have so many iconic cartoons. So overall, may Ted Turner rest in peace, and may his legacy live on forever. All right, very nice there. Ted Turner may be leaving behind a mixed legacy, but I could safely say that he ultimately did far more good with the vast fortune he accumulated over his life than he did bad. That's certainly more that I could say for most billionaires alive today. You either die a Ted Turner or live long enough to see yourself become the Rupert Murdoch. But we cannot forget that what if perhaps his greatest contribution to our society, fathering Kal AOL time traveling hero from the 51st century. Wait, what was that a thing? I don't know if you were joking or not, but that sounds weird. Anyways, Let's see. To Ted Turner's credit, he really did contribute saving those old cartoons, creating the concept of 24/7 News, TNT, and Captain Planet. I like that show. Yes, it is very cheesy, but it is kind of fun cheesy with very good intentions to help the environment. I got to talk to some people like Fred Siebert that did work with Ted Turner, and he said that he is a very interesting man, I would say, but has good intentions creating and saving stuff. Overall, we will miss this Captain Planet. Yeah, I mean, the more you think about it, the more that Robot Chicken sketch is not inaccurate, because I think the closest thing we actually did get to a real Captain Planet was actually Ted Turner. Let's see. This is an unfortunate week to see well-known people in pop culture pass away. Not just Ted Turner, but Koji Suzuki, the arter of the Ringu novels, and Kenji Oba, known for tokusatsu shows like Super Sensei, and then Michael Pennington, who played Moff Jared in Return of the Jedi. I have nothing to say, but may they rest in peace. Nah, definitely. Yeah, there have been some significant passings that has happened, actually. That is true. Anyways, Ted Turner was great with the foundation of Cartoon Network and TSM. However, he was also responsible for leading hate speech and the toxicity, where we are still stuck with those situations today. Still, he did build the legacy of a 24-hour animation channel. Since the launch, Cartoon Network is improving thanks to people like Craig McCracken, Gendy Tartakovsky, and Rebecca Sugar, who created shows for the channel and became successful. Thanks for the childhood, Cartoon Network. All right. I gotta admit, only a very few billionaires that have a heart and soul that they care about, and others compared to greed-blinded billionaires. Ted Turner is an absolute legend when it comes to television. He's definitely no saint, but without him, we wouldn't have Cartoon Network today, and Hanna-Barbera wouldn't be saved. May Ted Turner rest in peace, and may his impact and legacy on the TV industry continue to live on. All right, very nice. I think I'll read one more and then we'll move on to the next story or the next break. Let's see, which one did I have not? What did I not read yet? Just to be sure. Let's see. Did I go through like just about all of them, or? Oh, okay, I'll go with this. This is unfortunate. I think it's easy to underestimate how much of an impact Ted Turner had on the TV and film industry, and how many iconic TV networks he created and helped come fruition. His legacy will live on, but on the plus side, another iconic legend who told millions to protect nature, David Attenborough, made it to 100. Yeah, there is that bright side too during the week. There is that. All right, so with that said, we're going to go on to our next break. And when we do come back, we're going to go and really lighten the mood, because I don't know when the next movie we'll be talking about here is going to come out, but I already know that I am extremely excited for this one. So stay tuned for that. All right, now moving on to our next story, we have already talked about an acclaimed director with Christopher Nolan. But now it is time that we shall discuss another beloved filmmaker, Guillermo del Toro, in which very recently he actually got what is considered to be the highest honor from the British Film Institute, the BFI Fellowship. And from there, it was a very special event in which they would also go and have a chat with Guillermo del Toro, basically discussing about things like his life, his early years, his filmography, his filmmaking philosophies, and all that kind of stuff. But of course, eventually, they would go and ask, what is next for Guillermo del Toro? And he actually did answer, and for animation fans, boy, is it going to be an exciting one, because he revealed that his next movie is going to be a stop motion picture. Yes, at BFI, Guillermo del Toro has revealed that the next movie that he is working on, now that he is officially finished with Frankenstein, the production of that film is complete. It was released in theaters and on Netflix, and he went through the whole award circuit with the film. But now he is about to go and direct another feature, which will be a stop motion movie. Specifically, it is going to be a feature that will be an adaptation of Kazuo Ishiguro's 2015 novel, The Buried Giant. And if you want more information in regards to that feature, it actually states here, reading from my source on Deadline, it states, the novel follows an elderly British couple, Axel and Beatrice, living in a fictional post-Arthurian England in which no one is able to retain long-term memories. And that's pretty much all the description that they put up. And Guillermo del Toro, of course, as someone who is very passionate about animation, he is pretty much excited for the challenges that will come. Pretty much heavily advertising that not only is it going to be very difficult to go and craft because a lot of, like, most of it is going to be all practical. And he even stated that it's going to take years for it to go and develop. But at the same time, he also mentioned that this is going to be an adult animated movie. Like, he does not care for any kids who are going to go and watch it. Like, he is specifically going to be making this an adult animated feature. And by that, well, considering how Guillermo del Toro is, and like from what we have seen with his previous R-rated features, it's not going to be in the same veins of like Sausage Party or Fix, where it's just going to be like an all raunchy comedy. This is going to be one where I'm sure that he's going to take it a lot more seriously. And in terms of, I see some people in the comments are even saying that his Pinocchio adaptation is also adult. Not really. I wouldn't say that, honestly. I feel like, yeah, it's more mature as a Pinocchio. It is more mature as a Pinocchio adaptation, but you know, I would consider that more PG than something that would be like a rated R or something like that. Yeah, like even some people are saying that it is rated PG. But anyways, going back to Guillermo del Toro, with what he has talked about. Now, there isn't much other information that is revealed about what he is working on, but he did confirm about 2 people that are attached to it. First and foremost is that he actually got Dennis Kelly, who is the writer of Matilda the Musical. And of course, as a Guillermo del Toro movie, of course, one person who is among the cast is, of course, Ron Perlman. We don't know who he's going to be playing, but we do know that Ron Perlman is going to be in the feature. And let me actually go and read you some quotes, by the way, just to give you some passage so that you know from Guillermo del Toro's words himself in terms of what's going to be in store here. To which, reading from my source on Deadline, it actually says that Del Toro described the film as a fascinatingly difficult stop-motion movie for adults that is being produced without any concession to a family audience. It went on by also stating that Del Toro has adapted the novel with Matilda the Musical scribe Dennis Kelly, and he told the audience at the BFI Sound Bank in London that he decided the story had to be told in stop motion, like his 2022 adaptation of Pinocchio, to protect the story's authenticity. If you do a live-action Pinocchio and all of a sudden a puppet walks through, it becomes Uncanny Valley, which is a horrible thing that doesn't belong in the same world. Just like if you do a live-action movie about an old couple crossing a landscape full of trolls and fairies, and there are special effects and actors. I want all the creatures to be of the same material. It's going to take us years, and it's incredibly difficult. Del Toro also revealed that he is reuniting with his longtime collaborator Ron Perlman on The Buried Giant. The veteran filmmaker didn't reveal what role Perlman will play in the film, but simply said he is coming on the next movie. The pair last worked together on Pinocchio, but their collaboration goes back to Del Toro's debut, Kronos. Now, with that said, I'm just going to go and say right now that we're probably not going to hear about this for a long time. I mean, even Del Toro himself has actually stated, I don't know if I went through it actually, but he did say that it's going to take a long time for this movie to go and be produced. It'll be like years before this would come out. So depending on how early the production is with The Buried Giant, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be coming out sometime maybe in like 2030, like give or take. And I mean, considering we are in 2026, 4 years to go and produce a stop motion film doesn't sound like a whole lot. So maybe it could even be further. But then again, I don't know how far Guillermo del Toro is in the production of this thing. So honestly, who knows? Oh, and I almost forgot about one thing. It has been confirmed in this article, by the way, which it is stated here that Del Toro is going to be making this for Netflix, by the way. So it is going to be a Netflix movie in which, but considering that it is from Guillermo del Toro, though, I'm not too worried if this is just going to stay on streaming, because I know Netflix has been very generous with Del Toro in terms of giving his features theatrical releases, such as the case with what happened with Pinocchio, as well as his adaptation of Frankenstein. I mean, sure, they were limited releases, but they were still, you know, they still got a chance for people to go and see it on the big screen regardless. But with that said, when I heard about this news right over here, for me, honestly, I was immediately hyped up. Like, I know the concept is just very vague right now. Like, we only got a small idea of what's going to be in store. But for me, the fact that Guillermo del Toro is back to make another stop motion animated feature, I'm already sold. I'm already on board. And a big part of it is because of how much I loved what he did with his adaptation of Pinocchio. I would even go as far and say that it is possibly the best animated feature released exclusively on Netflix, or the best Netflix animated movie that's on the platform. Like, honestly, it's like, at the very least, it is right up there next to Nimona and Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. It is unbelievable. And if you've watched my videos, then you have definitely heard me sing the praises of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio before, even calling it the best adaptation of the story since Walt Disney's movie back in 1940. Like, it really is that good. And a big part of it is not just because of the beautiful animation that is displayed, but it's also with Guillermo del Toro's style of storytelling, where he knows how to bring us to these magical worlds that can feel strange, maybe a little creepy, but still fascinating, and contain a lot of heart as well. I mean, I felt very fortunate that I got to see Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio in theaters when it had that limited run, and I would say that it's one of the very rare movies nowadays where I actually teared up at the end. Like, it really is that good. It really is that phenomenal. And I really got engaged with it that much with it. So hearing Guillermo del Toro is going to go and make another make another stop motion film after what he gave us with with his adaptation of Pinocchio, I am absolutely sold on it. You know, I'm already on board. And this is not even to mention, by the way, just a quick side note, that even in terms of the stuff that he would just touch upon and actually help out to go and make, they also turn out to be great as well. Like, a great example is the I Am Frank Elda movie. Now, he wasn't a part, he wasn't a part of the movie, but he did mentor the Ambrose brothers in terms of making it, and you could tell how his influence really shined in that feature film. And by the way, I know that it was a movie that had that only showed up in a few festivals, and I was very lucky when I got to go see it last summer where the Ambrose brothers were actually there. But do keep in mind that you will have your chance in checking that movie out, because it is going to be coming out next month on Netflix. And yes, it's coming out worldwide. So honestly, I can't wait for more people to go and check it out, because I already got a taste of it, or I already got my taste of I Am Frank Elda. And oh boy, brace yourselves, because it's going to be a real good one. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. Hearing Guillermo del Toro is making another stop motion animated feature, I'm already all hyped up for it. But also, what I find to be very fascinating is that he has stated that this is going to be a movie that he's just aiming it to be for adults. Now, I will say, even though I did state before that, oh, this is going to be an R-rated movie, there is no true confirmation of that. The only thing that it's stated is, as I said before, it's that he is making a movie without any concession to a family audience. It's not necessarily that it'll be an R-rated movie, but rather that he's going to make a film and he doesn't care how kids are going to feel about it. So there is a likelihood that maybe this is going to come out as a PG-13 film, but still, having Guillermo del Toro go and make something that could turn out to be R-rated or more adult-oriented, I'm still on board with it, because even when it comes to his more mature features, kind of like with what we just saw last year with Frankenstein, they're still really awesome. And it really shows that Guillermo is definitely dedicated to putting out his vision and his team's vision as well with what he wanted to do, with what he wants to do with the Buried Giant. So I personally haven't read the book, admittedly, and there are still a lot of elements of mystery that are factored into this. But I am still very excited, and I think honestly, I'm going to go and say already that this is among my most anticipated movies that are going to be coming out on Netflix, because again, it's Guillermo del Toro. So so far, he has a very solid track record with the movies that he has brought out, whether they be live action or animated, like his version of Pinocchio. So this could turn out to be awesome. And I mean, who knows? Come to think of it, considering that it is Guillermo del Toro and that he is going to be producing an animated movie for adults, maybe this could be the one that for award season, it could help take animation more seriously. Like we saw, Guillermo del Toro was the man whom, when he accepted his Oscar for Best Animated Feature, like he stated, animation is cinema. So honestly, I am curious that now that he is producing an animated feature that is going to be more adult oriented, there could be a likelihood that maybe this could be the one that we'll see it receive many more nominations beyond Best Animated Feature and even the music ones. And maybe this could be it, where they could consider giving it the Best Picture nomination and have it compete onto that. But I mean, this is just thinking like way ahead in the future, and I could totally be wrong on it. But hey, this could be the one that could actually get that chance. And I mean, and if it takes a highly acclaimed filmmaker like Guillermo del Toro in order to go and do so, then I mean, why not? I'm all for it. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes with it. But I mean, just on the fact alone that it's Guillermo del Toro who's about to go and produce another stop motion animated feature, I'm on board. I'm already excited for it, and I can't wait to see what's going to be in store with the Buried Giant. All right, now with that said, it is now time I will go and pass this on to the chat wall. And now I want to go and ask you all, what do you think of Guillermo del Toro making another animated feature, this time being an adaptation of The Buried Giant? I would like to know what you think, especially if you're a fan of Guillermo del Toro, or especially if you just so happen to be someone who has read The Buried Giant. I would love to know what you think. All right, so let's see what we got here. Let's see now. Hi, AniMat. Been watching you since I was in 4th grade. I am now graduating high school. You were one of the film critics that has inspired me to be a film critic on YouTube myself. Just wanted to say thanks. Ah, thank you so much, dude. Very nice of you. Thank you, Gabriel Kane, the creative kid. Very nice message there. All right. Anyways, Let's see here. I don't have much to say regarding this because I'm honestly not familiar with The Buried Giant as a story, but as someone who is a fan of Guillermo del Toro's work, especially with his version of Pinocchio, this definitely could have potential, especially with how good his Pinocchio movie was. Although I definitely do hope it will get a limited theatrical release similar to his previous works with Netflix. It will. It definitely will. Like, that's honestly one thing that I could see into the future, and it will be getting a release. With how much Netflix loves Guillermo del Toro, they will absolutely, like, they'll give it that same chance, like with Frankenstein and with Pinocchio. Like, this will, like, I'm sure that The Buried Giant will get, at the very least, a limited release. Let's see. On another Guillermo del Toro stop motion animated film. Count me in. I really love Pinocchio on Netflix in 2012. It was a masterpiece. All right. Well, I mean, I understand if there's no other additional comments if people could go and make. So that's honestly fine. I think at this point we could go and move on to our final break. And oh, wait a minute. Actually, time out, actually. We just got one more extra comment to go and read. Me and some of my friends are big Guillermo del Toro fans, and this already sounds very intriguing. I adored Pinocchio, Shape of Water, Pan's Labyrinth, and others, and having read the synopsis, this sounds like it could be a visual marvel. All right, very nice. But anyways, we're going to go on to our final break right now, and when we do come back, we're going to go into a bit of video game news, or what is possibly the most shocking entertainment news that happened last week, especially when it came out right at the last minute, just out of nowhere. So stay tuned, and we will be discussing about the most unexpected Nintendo announcement we have had in recent years. And now, everyone, it is now time we will go and end this episode off with the grand finale. And yes, we might as well go and use the Smash Bros. Alarm for this, considering this is actually some Nintendo news. And oh my god, did Nintendo made quite a stir in the last week. Considering that, I remember it was on Wednesday when Nintendo made the announcement that there was going to be a brand new Direct. A small Direct that would just focus on one game in particular, but still, a new Nintendo Direct was going to be happening. The big catch, however, was that it was going to start in 15 minutes. Yeah, no joke. It was like literally a last minute thing. And they actually said like, oh, we're going to go and do this. By the way, it's starting soon. So many gamers and many streamers were rushing to their computers, making sure that they're all set and ready. I remember I recall like even for me, I was about to go and record something for an upcoming video. But then suddenly like I saw on social media that there was that update that there was going to be a new Nintendo Direct. And I was just there like, okay, fine, I might as well go and do that. So I went and checked it out. And yes, the big reveal happened. So let's go and talk about the new Star Fox game. Yes, this Direct was specifically for Star Fox, revealing that there is indeed going to be a brand new Switch 2 game that's going to be coming out soon that is simply titled Star Fox. And what is this Star Fox game, you may ask? Well, what they have done is going to be a 4K remake of Star Fox 64, to which it is going to be featuring brand new graphics and, of course, some brand new character designs, in which, yes, I will be talking about a little later. But at the same time, there's also going to be major focus in regards to the story, in which they have actually developed some brand new cutscenes, including, and this is actually something that the Nintendo Direct actually showed at the end of the whole stream, which is the prologue of the entire thing, in which we saw Peppy Hare, Pigma, and Fox's dad, James McCloud, onto their mission, and we saw some of the significant things happening, like we saw Pigma betraying the other two. We saw James McCloud's final act and Peppy Hare leaving, and that's when the adventure would go and truly begin. So there's going to be a lot more emphasis in terms of the updated graphics and and presenting this entire world of Star Fox, of what they are going to go and do. But there's also a lot more to it than just being a straightforward remake, because at the same time, they have also revealed that in this game, there's going to be some more things that will be added to it, including a multiplayer mode, to which I will go and read you here from my source on Nintendo Life, to which it would go and describe over here that multiplayer, dubbed Battle Mode, will allow you to play as characters from the Star Fox and Star Wolf teams in 4v4 dogfights. One of the more unique wrinkles comes in the form of a 2 Joy-Con 2 co-op mode, where one player can use the mouse while the other holds the Joy-Con normally. So from there, they have pretty much revealed that yes, there is going to be a multiplayer mode in which you could compete against each other, rather it be locally or you could even play online. But there is also a special 2-player campaign in which you got one person who can go and actually pilot the plane as you go on your adventure, and another person who actually has the Switch 2 Joy-Con being in mouse mode, in which you can actually control the lasers, you could actually control the weapons in order to shoot down the enemies that are in your way. So there are different ways that you could go and play and interact with other people. But there is also one more additional bonus that they have created for this, and that is related to the Switch 2's game chat mode. Now, let me go and ask you this. Have you ever dreamed of the day that you can have your own VTuber persona, but the VTuber persona is not necessarily an OC or anything like that? You just want to be a VTuber as one of the Star Fox characters, that you could go and be a character from Star Fox as you would go and play a game. Well, your wish can actually be granted, because in Star Fox, there is actually a special mode in which you can actually go and take the avatars of characters from Star Fox, in which you could select either Fox, Peppy Hare, Falco Lombardi, or Slippy Toad, and you can actually become a VTuber in which you could plug in your camera and it will go and scan your head movements and your facial expressions, and the characters will go and imitate them. So that's all the bonuses that you would go and get with this Star Fox game. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to go and mention that on top of that, not only is it playable with all your different Switch and Switch 2 controllers, but if you also happen to own the Nintendo 64 controller that is compatible with the Switch, then you could also play with that as well if you want a more authentic style of playing Star Fox 64, but now in full-on HD. And the big thing, of course, that they have revealed with all this is when it's going to be coming out, because believe it or not, it's surprisingly soon, to which the release is going to be on June 25th of this year. So in about a month, this Star Fox game is going to be coming out. So you could probably imagine how people were just completely shocked to go and hear this. I would actually go and say that this is one of those things that's, it's surprising, but shouldn't be surprising, considering the fact that Fox recently became relevant again with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And I guess it now makes a lot of sense to why Fox would somehow show up in that feature film, because even the movie itself wouldn't be able to find a way to justify why Fox is in this movie. It just made up a quick backstory and just rolled with it, kind of like with everything else in this feature. But now it seems to make sense where with Fox's appearance in the Mario Galaxy movie, it's a little bit of synergy because it's to go and build up with what's to come with a brand new Star Fox game that's gonna be coming out. So now that actually does explain it. It's one of those things we should have seen, but I guess it's more just the shock factor of how Nintendo would go and release a direct at the very last minute. It just made this thing feel all the more unexpected. And I will say, for me, I remember actually playing the original Star Fox 64, not necessarily on not on the Nintendo 64, but I have played it, I think, on the Switch, when not the Switch, the Wii, when it had the Virtual Console. I think I played it on that, which is just a port, so I have played the game for sure. And I mean, it's definitely a solid game, I won't deny that. So when I heard there's this new remake that's coming out, yeah, honestly, it did get me, like, it definitely caught my attention, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a new Star Fox remake. Oh, I think I want to go and get this. So honestly, like, at the time, I was definitely hyped up to go, to want to go and actually grab it, because admittedly, I don't know what other Switch 2 games I want to go and get. I mean, I have been thinking maybe Hades 2, but I've been holding off on that because I want to go and first play Hades 1, which I heard both games are absolutely excellent. And then honestly, I'm waiting, I'm in like a wait and see mood on the upcoming Yoshi game that's going to be coming out in a few weeks. Like, I want to see what the word of mouth and what the critical reception is first before I would go and consider to actually grab the game for myself. But when it comes to the Star Fox game, I will say that's the one where it caught my attention, where hopefully, like, as long as it plays well, then I would probably go and grab it. Like, okay, like, at least I know a little bit of what I'm in store with this. So, I think I'd be on board with it, especially when you look at the graphics, especially like when you play the game, it looks beautiful. Like when you're in your R-Wing or when you explore all the different planets that you get into, it definitely looks nice. And yeah, it's such a graphical upgrade. Or is it graphical, the word that I'm looking for? But anyways, the graphics got a massive upgrade compared to the one on Nintendo 64. So yeah, definitely it did grab my curiosity. If we're getting this upgraded Star Fox game, this upgraded Star Fox 64 game, then I think I might be on board with this one. I think, I'll definitely consider getting it for myself. However, it is worth noting that not everyone is excited about this Star Fox game, because as much as some people were hyped up for it, others were rather confused as to the whole experience, not just because of the last minute update, but also with the game itself. And there are definitely some critics who have been vocal about this upcoming Star Fox game for two specific reasons. Number one is in regards to the designs. And honestly, I'm just going to say for myself, in my opinion, they don't necessarily bother me that much. I mean, sure, it's not the best looking design for the Star Fox characters, and I do agree. I definitely do prefer the one in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, where it's a lot more cartoony and it's a lot more dynamic, especially with the expressions. Honestly, I do prefer movie Fox than this Fox right over here. But I will say it doesn't necessarily. I think I lost my word. Hold on a sec. It doesn't bother me. There we go. It doesn't bother me all that much. And honestly, like, if I play the game, I could probably get used to it. But at the same time, I understand why people are not on board with it, because it does look like something that would be in the uncanny valley, especially when they went with a more realistic design with these characters. In a way, they honestly look like what people would fear if Disney announced that they would do a live action remake of either Robin Hood or Zootopia, that the characters would all end up looking like this and people would just be more weirded out than they actually would be endeared by it. So I understand, like, when it comes to realistic CG, not everyone is on board with it. And it's not necessarily what's considered to be in compared to like the early 2000s and stuff like that. Like nowadays, like people are a lot more on board with like stylistic and dynamic animation, kind of like what we have gotten with films like Spider-Verse or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and stuff like that. So something like this where it goes in a completely direction from that, like I understand why some people would definitely be put off by that style. And then there is the second reason, which is the fact that this is a Star Fox 64 remake. And the problem with it is that this is not the first time that Nintendo would go and re-release Star Fox 64. And this is not counting any of the ports that would be in either the virtual consoles or in the online catalog and stuff like that. Technically, this is the fourth time that Nintendo would go and release Star Fox 64, but in a different capacity. Because beforehand, there was a Wii U version of Star Fox 64 called Star Fox Zero, and I believe the 3DS also got a Star Fox remake as well. And the funny thing is, ironically enough, you could correct me if I'm wrong on this, but some people have even stated that Star Fox 64 is a remake to the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. So in that regard, Star Fox ended up getting more remakes than they actually do original games. I believe the last time that there was a new original Star Fox game with its own story and with its own batch of recurring and new characters and stuff like that, I think it was like 2 decades ago, like in 2005 and 2006, when they brought out Star Fox Assault and Star Fox Command. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but yeah, honestly, it's been such a long time. And I mean, some people would even go and say, like, some people would probably go and argue that, oh, well, technically there's also this game that's not a Star Fox game, but I mean like a straightforward mainline Star Fox game that they would go and release like that. That's not like a little spin-off. That's, I'm talking about something that's like a main thing. It's been a long time since we've legit had that. So in that regards, that's also something that I personally understand why people would be upset about it, because, it's been far too long since we've had anything that's legitimately new from Star Fox. And now here they are back at it again, but with another remake telling us the same story all over again. It's ridiculous because I don't even think Ocarina of Time has that amount of freaking remakes. Oh boy. So yeah, like I can understand how it could be conflicting, but I will say overall, at least in my opinion, well, now that we've gotten all that, now that we've went through all the criticisms that people have said about it and all the different memes, which even I will admit are actually kind of funny. We let it sink in that this whole Switch or this whole Nintendo Direct actually occurred. I will say, honestly, now like I've got some time to process and think about it, I would still say that, I'm still intrigued to go and get it myself. I think the only thing I'm waiting for is to know, how does the game control? If it's, if the controls are perfectly fine, if it's no trouble, then I'd definitely be open to go and actually get it myself. Again, as I said before, I understand why some people don't like the designs, but they personally don't bother me all that much. And at the same time, I've never played any of the other Star Fox remakes before. Like, again, the only time I've really played Star Fox 64 was the Virtual Console on the Wii. And I've never played any of the other Star Fox remakes that they've done after that. So honestly, I'm definitely more open to go and play this version, because like going from the original Nintendo 64 version to what we're going to be getting on the Switch 2, that's going to be quite a significant upgrade. So with this, so again, I understand why some people are not into it, why some people wouldn't go and buy it, but I think for me, I think I would add this to my collection. Like, maybe there will be some things I'm going to wait to know, like, how is it going to be? But honestly, again, I'm on board for it. And if you guys are interested in having Star Fox for the Switch 2, then keep in mind that the game shall be coming out on June 25th. So with that said, now I would like to go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I want to go and ask you all, what do you all think about the Star Fox Connect and this upcoming Star Fox game on the Switch 2? Are you guys interested in getting it? Do you have some criticisms on it? Are you not on board with the fact that this is another Star Fox 64 remake and that these designs, they look a little too weird than actually cool? Let me know what you think. And you know what? At the same time, why don't we actually go and do a poll on this? So I want to go and ask you all, will you be getting Star Fox on the Switch 2? So I'll write down yes, and then we'll write down no and see what people have to say on this. All right, so let's see here. I'm honestly not familiar with Star Fox as a franchise, but this shocked me. I can understand Nintendo wanting a new Star Fox game after Fox's appearance in the Galaxy movie, but I didn't expect it so soon. But it does have promise, even with it being another Star Fox 64 remake, and the designs, which do look weird, but it doesn't bother me that much. But I do think this could still have potential. And you know, the funny thing is that this could actually be a great introduction to Star Fox for modern audiences. I mean, let's face facts, folks. Most kids nowadays are not necessarily familiar with who Fox McCloud is. I mean, the most knowledge that they have gotten, or the most experiences that they have from Star Fox, would be from the Smash Bros. Games, and now with the addition of Fox's appearance in the Mario Galaxy movie. And that's pretty much it. Like you'd be surprised that many people nowadays haven't even played a single Star Fox game. So I can imagine how this remake is going to be quite an introduction for them. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm kind of mixed about this. On one hand, I'm disappointed that this is another remake, and the designs might be something I need to get used to. But on the other hand, this is a better reason for me to get a Switch 2. And if this becomes a success, I just want any excuse to see my girl Crystal in future games. Exactly. I mean, like, at this point, like, I know this is not necessarily the best idea for a Star Fox game, but if you want to have a new Star Fox game that can feature the comeback of Crystal, then maybe consider giving this Star Fox a chance, because, you know, it's kind of like with the idea of original animated features. If you want more original animated features to be released, then you need to support more original animated features when they do come out. Like, go and buy a ticket to go and check them out. Maybe they won't come out as the best, and maybe they might end up sucking, but it's still important to go and support that, to go and tell the higher ups that you want more of that. And it's kind of the same thing with this. You want more Star Fox, you want to see more Star Fox games, then you got to give this one a chance if you want to have more Star Fox games and also more new stuff where we can actually see the comeback of Crystal. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. Anyways, let's see what other comments are there. Okay, I'll admit that this news didn't really do much for me since I haven't played any of the Star Fox games, and the most that I know is through Smash Bros. And of course the recent Galaxy movie, but maybe it'll be fun. I'm just really sick of people raging about redesigns, even saying it should get the Sonic treatment just like the new Shrek designs. Just stop, guys. All right, before I continue, I just want to go and say maybe not many people have voted as much as the other polls before, but it is interesting to see that the grand majority of you who have voted actually said that you are interested in getting the game, in which 89% of the votes said yes, while 11% have said no. And just to go back in the comment with what they have said here, yeah, this is honestly the part where I feel like it's a little bit of a step too far, where people would go and compare this to 2019 movie Sonic, and they want to do that all over again, which no, honestly, this is more of a confirmation, like not just with the reactions to the Shrek 5 redesign, but also this as well. It really goes to show that more and more people have really taken, people have taken the wrong lesson of what has happened with the whole Sonic redesign controversy, or the whole thing with ugly Sonic. I think people misunderstood what that means, and now they think that if they throw a big enough temper tantrum and harass the right people, then suddenly they'll magically go and get what they want, which is not gonna be happening, folks. And honestly, all this does is just encourage more toxicity. I mean, it's a situation where sadly, it feels like it has done more harm than good. I mean, yeah, it's great that the Sonic movies have become very successful, but the people's behavior on the internet has really gotten worse since. So no, honestly, it's best to just separate the whole Sonic situation with this, because really you're not going to come out a winner if you try to go and do that again. All right, I think I'll go and read one more comment before we go and cap this off. Let's see here. To be honest, I didn't have much interest in Star Fox. My focus is more on the upcoming release of the new Lego Batman game, which is likely coming out next week. You should definitely check out the launch trailer. It really is awesome. That said, I don't want to dismiss Star Fox entirely. It does look interesting, almost like a blend of Star Wars and Sly Cooper. I've heard some people were surprised by his recent movie debut, although they should have kept the designs, but I'll give it a chance. All right, well, there you have it there. And with that said, I believe that should do it for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And boy, am I glad that the internet actually worked out fine here, where we got no troubles whatsoever. And I'm honestly feeling very happy with how this episode came out, and it's thanks to all of you as well. So I just want to go and say thank you all so much for watching, and if you want to go and follow for more episodes of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, then don't forget to go and subscribe to the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel, and also the Animat Live Twitch channel. At the same time, if you are listening to me on whatever podcast service you're listening to, rather it be on Spotify, Google, Amazon, or more, then don't forget to go and follow me there as well. And with that said, I want to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.